Hey guys, so today I'm super excited to bring you a 3 looks 1 palette using the brand new Klarity Kosmetics So Mermaizing palette. I did pre-order this back in March and I'm so excited to finally have my hands on it. It arrived just a few days ago. I am coming at you with look number 3 on my eyes right now. Klarity Kosmetics is a black-owned indie brand that I'm a huge fan of. I have had great luck with a lot of their single shadows, and when I saw this color story on their Instagram, I knew I was going to purchase it because it's one of the most beautiful color stories I've ever seen. It's half matte and half foiled shimmer shades, and I just can't stop staring at it. It's so pretty. So this palette retails for $48. It is currently sold out on their website, but I think in one of their most recent Instagram posts, they said it should be coming back in stock in June. So if you have this palette, hopefully this video can give you some inspiration on ways to use it, and if you are on the fence about it, trying to decide whether or not you do want to order it when it comes back in stock, hopefully this can help you decide if you want to drop $48 on this palette. So let's go ahead and get on into look number 1. I do want to do my eyeshadow first because the shimmers in this palette are quite soft. If they're anything like some of the other single shimmers that I have from Klarity, they're probably going to have some fallouts. I just applied my Urban Decay Primer potion. I probably will also apply some NYX Glitter Primer once I am ready to apply the shimmers. I don't even know where to begin with this first look. I literally just got this in the mail earlier today. I think for this first look I am going to go like the peach and yellow route because that is one of my favorite color combinations to wear on my eyes. So I'm gonna start with the shade Fantastic, which is this pastel yellow. And in case you can't tell, these pans are massive. They are the same size as their regular single shadow pans. So I'm just gonna start blending this in to my crease area. This color is really close to the depth of my skin tone. It's going on as just a very soft cream color on me, but depending on your skin tone, it may look completely different. Next, I'm going to go into the shade Long Time No See and just buff that into my crease. I feel like I'm not getting a ton of color with these. It's just that they're like the same color as my skin almost. I am gonna go in with this glitter primer here from NYX. I use this with almost all shimmers, but especially with any that are a little bit on the flaky side, I like to apply my regular primer first because this is not the same as a regular eye primer. Go in with my mattes and then just dot this onto the part of my eyelid where I'm planning on applying the shimmers. I think I'm going to go into this shade Oh Ship. Okay, so first of all with these shimmers, what you need to know about these is they say on their website the particle size of the shimmers, that's how they describe it, is bigger than most shimmer eyeshadows. So you need to just like tap your finger in there or your brush. I prefer fingers rather than like rubbing it in there because they almost feel like cream shadows, but they're also a little bit on the flaky side. Oh my goodness. And I'm just gonna slowly build this. I think that is the way to go about using this type of shimmer. Oh my goodness, that is so pretty. Do you see the shiftiness of that shade? Stunning. Reminds me a bit of the texture of the Urban Decay Stoned Vibes shadows with the kind of shifty sparkle that they give off. But I mean, you really don't find this kind of dimensional reflectiveness very often. I mean, look at that. I love that. So I'm gonna just blend a little bit more with Long Time No See. They are truly pastel. I'm almost just buffing that all the way up to my brow bone. And then I'm going to grab a little bit more of Fantastic as well. Kind of wish that would show up a little bit more. I think I may tap a little bit of this Don't Be Shellfish shade, which is like a yellow-green duochrome, into my inner corner. Beautiful. So I've got most of the rest of my makeup done, and I'm just going to kind of try to put some finishing touches on this look. So to be honest, I mean, that shimmer is so gorgeous, but I really was hoping for those mattes to show up a little bit more. I'm going to take a mix of the peach and yellow matte and just try to get a little bit more out of them. I also feel like it's going on top of my primer a little funnily, like, it just looks a little bit patchy. I don't know, like, even though they are close to my skin tone, those mattes, I still feel like they should show up, you know? And it does make me wonder how these would work on deeper skin tones. I don't know, maybe they would show up better on deeper skin tones because there'd be more of a contrast, but who knows? I'm gonna have to wait and see, hopefully some reviews from some deeper skinned creators. Honestly, I am the kind of person that likes to just slap a very sparkly shimmer all over my lid and call it a day, so I think it's a really pretty look. I was hoping for a little bit more from those mattes though. Alright, so I applied some mascara, and on the lips I'm wearing my Mented Peach Lip Pencil with my Burt's Bees Gloss Lip Crayon in Santorini Sunrise. That's look number one. I don't really have a whole lot else to say yet, but let's go ahead and hop into look number two. Alright, so for look number two, I've gone ahead and primed my eyelids with the Urban Decay Primer Potion. This time I'm going to go in with a little bit of setting powder from the crease up, just in hopes that that will kind of help the mattes a little bit as far as like blending, because I felt like I had a little bit of patchiness with look number one. In this look, I kind of want to focus on the greens and blues. I'm actually thinking of maybe fading this pink into this like green and pink duochrome shade, because I feel like those would fade into each other really nicely. So I'm going to start out my crease with the shade I'll Have a Martini. There's a little bit of kickback with these mattes, but it's not anything terrible. So this is definitely showing up better than the yellow yesterday. Kind of running that all across and almost bringing that up to my brow bone. I am doing my eye makeup before my face makeup again today. That is really pretty. I do feel like it's pulling a little bit more blue on my skin tone than it looks in the pan. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some NYX Glitter Primer to my lid. I'm taking that all the way across just the lid. I think I'm gonna start with I Washed Up Like This, which is that pink. And this pink has a really beautiful like golden shift to it. Tapping a little of that off onto my wrist just so that I don't get too much, because these are very flaky shimmers. And I'm just applying that to like the first half of my lid, just up to the center. Then from there I'm going to go into the shade Beach Please and apply that to the outer half of my lid, so they'll kind of like fade into one another. Oh, that is so pretty. I love how these shimmers go on. They just look kind of wet on your eyes. You just have to be okay with them being quite crumbly and be prepared to touch them very gently because of that. I'm gonna take that crease brush with nothing else on it and just kind of blend out the edges there. And I'm okay with those shimmers kind of making their way into my crease. Alright, so I'm back with my face makeup on, and my skin is peeling, so don't look too closely at it. I recently started tretinoin. I keep on putting makeup on and then realizing that my skin is peeling after I already have my makeup on, because it looks fine before. I want to do some color on the lower lash line. Kind of want to try out this See Ya Later shade here. I sort of want to do like a reverse of what's on top. So I'm going to take See Ya Later and smudge that onto the outer half of my lower lash line. Well, that's showing up pretty. I was not sure if the shade would show up because the peach and the yellow were so light, but this one seems to have a little bit more like saturation to it. Then I'm going to go into You Mermaid My Day and apply that to the inner part of the lower lash line. And that is pulling more blue than the matte green that I had in my crease. I was curious to see how different those two shades would look on my skin, and they definitely do look different. All right, I'm dabbing a little bit more of that pink shimmer into the inner corner, just for some nice inner corner highlight. And I went ahead and applied mascara just to the top lashes. I wanted to leave the lower lashes bare so that those colors on the bottom could show. And on the lips, I have on CoverGirl Honeyed Bloom, and I topped it with this Klarity gloss in Drop the Mic. Lowered the brightness so you could see a little bit better. I'm more pleased with this look today than I was with look number 1. I had much better luck with that pastel green in my crease, and I really like the way that these two shimmers look side by side. I think they fade into one another really nicely, and I really didn't have tremendous fallout. I think I'm getting more accustomed to the texture of these shimmers and getting better about just only picking up as much as I need. And I feel like these tones in particular are very mermaid-esque. And that is look number 2. Alright guys, I'm back and ready for look number 3. My eyelids have already been primed. Once again, I am going to set like from the crease up with just my face powder. Alright, so I definitely want this look to mainly feature Call Me On My Shell Phone, which is this blue-green shade. That is actually the only shade I haven't used yet, but I'm going to start out the crease with You Mermaid My Day with just a fluffy crease brush. So I want to do that thing where you apply like a color right up in here. I know I've seen like Lauren May Beauty do that. I hope I can pull it off. But I think I want to try that with Fantastic, the yellow. I want to give this yellow another shot. I'm just going to use a small crease brush. Just kind of want to see if I can get this to build up. It's kind of showing up. It's so pastel. It's not that it's not pigmented, it's just that it's so light. I feel like that is showing up though. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the blue. Grab that fluffy brush again and just kind of go over all of that. I feel like an Easter egg right now. Most of these matte pastels remind me of the color of sidewalk chalk. Like it's that pastel, which is not something that you see every day in eyeshadow, I think just because it can be so hard to formulate that type of color in a way that's going to show up. Alright, so I'm going to apply my NYX Glitter Primer on the lid. Heading on into Call Me On My Shell Phone. I'm going to apply this just the way that I always do, just tapping it onto my finger. I'm going to tap a little bit off onto my rag here, and I'm just going to slowly build that up all across the lid. Oh, these shimmers, you guys, are so pretty. I mean, are you kidding me? That is so beautiful. Okay, so I feel like that yellow, and it could just be because I went in with my glitter primer, but I don't think I put it very far up there. I really only put it on my lid, but I feel like that yellow is getting kind of patchy, and like, it looks like it's kind of skipping in a way. You see how the yellow just looks kind of separated there? I don't know, I feel like that yellow is very tricky. I'm gonna try dipping back into the yellow and just building that up a little bit more. Yeah, it looks patchy. Like it's sitting on my skin weirdly and like not fully blending in. And I think it's just because it's such a light color and it's so almost just chalky. I think I'm going to take a mix of the blue and green matte into my crease some more. Maybe I'll just kind of cover up that yellow because I'm not really liking the way that that went on. Yeah, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth all the way across. Alright, so face makeup is on. Now I want to tap a little bit of Don't Be Shellfish into my inner corner just for some brightness. I want to smudge some of the matte green on my lower lash line. I feel like my eyes look really red because my sunscreen, I was outside sweating for a lot of the day today, and my sunscreen kind of got into my eyes. I promise I haven't been like bawling my eyes out, even though I know it looks like it. All right, so mascara is on, and then on the lips I have on the Mented Peach Lip Pencil in the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip in Champagne Mami. And that is the finished look for look number 3. Overall, I really like the way the look came out. I love this turquoise shimmer. I think it's gorgeous. I think so far for me the shimmers are where this palette really shines. I want to get up close and show you these mattes. I feel like the mattes, and I don't know if it's because of my eye primer or because, you know, I do put a mineral sunscreen on my eyelids, but I always let that set before I go in with my eye makeup and everything. But it's looking weirdly like creasy and skippy. And I don't feel like that's an issue that I have with other shadows. So, and it's specifically the mattes that I feel like have a tendency to look a little bit patchy or just kind of skippy. Now that I've done all 3 looks, let's kind of go ahead and get into kind of my final thoughts on the palette so far, now that I've done 3 looks with it and I've used every shade at least once so far. I'm still head over heels in love with the color story. This continues to be one of the most beautiful color stories I've ever seen. I have to say though, I'm a little bit let down by some of these mattes. I don't have a ton of true pastels quite like these in my collection, so I don't have a whole lot to compare these to. Maybe that's just kind of the reality of pastels, but the peach and the yellow, those were the ones I used in look number 1. I felt like those hardly showed up on my eyes, and I don't know if that's just a me problem, like maybe it's because they are so close to my skin tone, even like depth-wise, but I was just kind of hoping for more. The other 3 mattes though, I felt like those showed up much better because they are a little bit more contrasted with my skin tone, so I'm going to continue to play with them and kind of update you guys as I go, but that's my thoughts on the mattes. I'm a little disappointed, not just because of the 2 that didn't really show up that well on me, but the texture as well. Like they kind of went on in a sort of patchy, almost cakey sort of way, even though I don't think I changed anything about my eye base at all between this palette and other palettes that I use. So as far as the shimmers, I think that these have a very unique texture. I think it's crucial that you just kind of tap your finger in there once and use a glitter primer. I definitely prefer to apply this kind of a shimmer with a finger because I just feel like that gives me the most control and the best application. You can use a brush with them, but I don't know that I'd recommend that. I just feel like a finger is the way to go. So you're really going to have to consider for yourself whether you think you'll enjoy using that type of textured shadow, because it is something very unique and I don't think everyone would love it, but I mean, you can see for yourself how beautifully they do look when they're on the eye. I mean, I feel like they almost look kind of wet on my eye. I love that they're all iridescent, and I do feel like $48 for 10 shades in these huge pans is a really good deal because you're essentially getting each shadow for $4.80 a piece. And on their website, the singles individually retail for between $7.50 and $10. Another thing to keep in mind though is that in this palette there really are no deepening shades. So you've basically got 5 pastel mattes and then 5 sort of muted shimmers. None of these shimmers are even that deep anyway. The deepest one is Call Me on My Shell Phone, which really that one is also kind of mid-tone. So if you always use deep shades in your looks and you want to be able to get a complete look out of a palette, this may not be the palette for you. Personally, I don't mind. I love an all pastel look. I don't always use a deep shade in my eye looks anyway, especially when I'm working with pastels, so I don't feel like I'm missing a deeper shade here, but something to keep in mind for yourself. The palette is really large. It's only a 10-pan palette, but the shades are the same size as their singles. Just for size comparison, I also have this Billy Beauty palette. It's also a 10-pan. And that is the difference in size. I do feel like these Billy pans are kind of like your average size for a circle pan. Also, compared to an ABH palette, you can see the size difference. this ABH palette is 12 pans, this one is only 10 and it is bigger. So just keep in mind the size. For some people that's a pro, for some people that's a con. So all in all, I think you're gonna have to decide for yourself whether this palette is worth it for you. I feel like I built it up in my head a lot because I was just so completely in love with the color story, and I've had really good luck with Klarity singles, but I hadn't really tried any like really light pastels from them, so this was kind of a different experience for me. But if you like all these colors and you think you'll have fun with them and you really enjoy using duochrome metallic shimmer shades on your eyes, and the way that I described those shimmers sounds like something that you would enjoy using, I still would recommend it. I think you're gonna obviously have to decide for yourself whether it's worth $48. I was just hoping for it to be a little bit better. I think I am really going to enjoy playing with this palette. It is a beautiful springtime color story, and I'm still glad that I bought it even though I'm not as in love with it as I thought I would be. So I hope that that was helpful and helped you decide if it's worth it for you to pick this up or skip it. Like I said, it is currently sold out on their website, but it sounds like they will be restocking it within the next couple of months. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 3 looks 1 palette. If it helped you out, definitely make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you again, and hopefully I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye.